Kama Inn seemed particularly vacant, which I had assumed to be Nagakura's doing. It wouldn't have surprised me to hear that he took the recruits out for bottles of sake to blow off steam. I had the chance right in the palm of my hands, and no one would ever find out. I need to leave this place while I still can. Whoa! That's... holy, okay. That's a choice. Where are we going? Just as I turned to speed towards the front door.
どうした?こんな遅くに。
The moment my head spun, I was greeted by the face of a familiar friend who'd stood in front of me as if to block me from leaving. Oh my god, I can't read. Why, of all people, did I have to bump into him? Harada. For some reason, his name escaped my mouth languidly.
女が一人歩きするような時間じゃねえぞ。どこに行くつもりだった?
I searched for excuses, but none readily came to mind. Looking into Harada's eyes frightened me, as if he had the ability to read my every thought and whim simply by staring into my soul. Gomenasai. I tried sidestepping, hoping to fly past Harada before he could stop me, but...
待て!逃げるんじゃねえ!
By the time his stern voice reached my ears, his hand had already grabbed a hold of my shoulders.
あめえよ。俺を誰だと思ってんだ?
His forceful grip tugged me around, compelling me to spin and face him. Having Harada's immense frame so close to my body intimidated me, and I couldn't help but look away. Somehow, I knew that so much as looking into his eyes would cause me to sob uncontrollably.
何があった?その様子だと誰かの使いってわけじゃねえよな。ってことは。
I winced, biting into my lip in anticipation.
出て行くつもりだったのか、本気で。
Go figure! Please, let me go. It is for the best. I've put a lot of thought into it.
おい、ちょっと待てって。少し落ち着けよ。
Harada released his grip on my shoulder before letting out a long sigh.
前に俺が言ったこと覚えてるか?もし新選組を抜けてんなら真っ先に俺に言えって言ったよな。本気で出ていくつもりなら俺がどうとでもしてやる。根回しでも説得でも協力してやるよ。だがな、このやり方は良くねえだろう。せめて理由ぐらいは言ってくれよ。4年間ずっと一緒にいたのに帰ってみたらいませんでしたなんてのはあんまりだろう。そうじゃねえか。
Oh God. Harada had a way of pulling at my heartstrings. How easily he could sway me into questioning what I thought I knew. Was he really that worried about me? Would it actually devastate him to return home and discover that I had fled without telling him? But I wondered, how should I respond? The choice is stop being so nice to me. Why is this the correct answer? Please Stop always trying to be so nice to me. My voice shook, fighting to sound coherent. I've had enough. I've been fortunate enough that everyone has been so kind and welcoming to me. But I can't shake the feeling that in doing so, I'm just being a burden to everyone else.
悪いが、それじゃわからねえな。何か気に食わねえことでもあったか。
I shook my head silently. I was hesitant to answer, but there wasn't. Being under the care of the Shinsengumi was special. That hadn't stopped Harada from questioning me. I'd begun to wonder if anything could.
誰かと喧嘩でもしたか？俺たちのことが嫌になったか？
No.
それとも
I'm the one that doesn't belong here, right? Before I knew it, I had lashed into a screaming furor. All of the strife festering inside me had reached its limit, and once I started, I found it impossible to stop. My eyes swelled up, tears streaking underneath my hot, puffy eyelids. It was my father who brought the water of life into the Shinsengumi. I knew that in some way I had to take responsibility for that, but... Harada said nothing. He kept me fixed in his stare. My vision was so blurry from tears that it was difficult to make out what kind of expression he had. I am so happy because of how kind and generous everyone's been to me. You have no idea how appreciative I am. Really, I am. I felt my lips quivering with each word, making it tough to string together a proper sentence. But I couldn't hold back much longer. Even with Hisuke, I don't want to leave him hanging or to hurt him. I want to repay all of you, I truly do, for all that you've done for me, but...
平助がどうしたって？まさか誰かがお前にくだらねえことを吹き込みやがったのか？
Well, Sana-san urged me coldly that I couldn't ever tell Harada what he'd said about Hisuke. I can't say anything. I'm not allowed to, but... I know that there's little I can do to repay all your kindness because I'm worthless as a warrior. But I still don't know if cooperating with the Fairy Corps is something I can't do. I just don't know!
ちょっと待て!
If all I've ever amounted to is become some sort of beacon for Cosmo and the rest of the demons to come here and start some trouble, then maybe I'm just being selfish. Maybe I'm taking advantage of your hospitality, and by refusing, it's just a poor reflection on me to do nothing in return.
千鶴、落ち着け!
I'm a waste. Just a selfish waste. I can't blame anyone for resenting me because of it, so... Stop being so nice to me. If I don't leave now, then I'll have to live with the weight of my guilt, and I'll only crumble from within. If you aren't going to let me leave, then please just kill me now! Suddenly, I found myself screaming at the top of my lungs, and he reactively wrapped his hands around my arms to subdue me. Oh! His grasp was so rough that I jolted still. Underneath my chin, I felt his fingertips gently tilt my head upward, and then... shit! The sensation of his lips pressed against mine. Not that kind of suck, though. It all happened so quickly. I barely had any time to realize what was happening. The distance between us was now non-existent. I saw the sparkle of his amber eyes between his full, luscious eyelashes. Harada then began to nibble playfully on my lower lip. The warm tickle of his breath made my knees shake as he stroked underneath my chin gently. I was so enraptured by Harada's suddenness that it took me a second to realize we were kissing. At first, I tried to draw back, but Harada insisted. Pulling me closer to our kiss intensified. Why? Soon, it became almost painful to breathe, and I found myself having any space to think. And I found myself having nothing. What is a sentence? Soon it became almost painful to breathe, and I found myself having no space to think. Oh. As our lips parted, I felt a shiver crawl down the back of my neck to the tips of my toes. It took everything inside of me not to collapse to the ground. Holy shit, Harada. Oh my lord. Give me a second. I need to take this in. Hold on. Feeling had left my body entirely. I went numb, powerless as my mind attempted to gather its focus. All I could do was shake my head, dumbfounded.
ちっと言い訳がましいが、そのまま聞いてくれねえか。少し前からお前の様子がおかしいことには気づいてたんだが、お前がなかなか本心を明かしてくれなかったのが、なんつうかもどかしくてな。4年も一緒にいたのに全然信用されてなかったのかなんて思っちまってよ。年下の娘相手に大人げねえことこの上ねえよな。
No, it's my fault. I almost would have rather he scolded me, letting me feel the brunt of his frustrations without giving me any opportunity to argue back, but seeing him confess so sincerely to me that he too was so conflicted warmed my heart.
あとはあれだ。女は男に守られるものなんてかっこいいこと言っときながら知らぬいにボロ負けしちまったから。もしかしたらお前に愛想をつかされちまったんじゃねえかってそんなことまで考えちまったな。
How stupid had I been this entire time? Here was Harada pouring his heart out and trying to convey the misunderstanding from his perspective with respect to my feelings. And my first inclination was to run away from him. My cheeks were hot with embarrassment. Never had I ever felt so ashamed in my life.
もしお前がこんな俺に愛想をつかして出ていくってんなら仕方ねえと思うが、そうじゃねえならやめとけ。
Harada.
誰かに何か言われたとしても引け目なんて感じる必要ねえよ。黙ってここにいろ。いいな。
Harada's words of encouragement were sitting warmly in my heart. Okay, I get it. I couldn't imagine ever tiring of being with him. And if I were to have it my way, then I could be here forever.
よし。ならこの場は手打ちってことにしておこうぜ。
Harada towered in front of me, and I gazed into his eyes with a realization. I replayed what had occurred in my head. I suddenly realized that it was the first time a man had ever done something like that with me. I used to think I knew what it meant if someone were to kiss you, but...
どうした？
なんでもない。Harada's demeanor was as cool-headed as it ever was, seemingly unfazed at all by what happened. So, was our kiss just a means for him to calm me down like you suggested? Was there really nothing behind how tender and passionate it felt? From what some of the other men had mentioned, Harada was quite popular amongst the women of the red light district as well. Perhaps to him, a kiss was inconsequential. Ugh. Just a friendly token of affection, or maybe less. It would do me no good to raise my hopes. I'm sure that to him it meant nothing at all.
で、話してくれるか。一体何があったんだ？
I weighed my doubts, pondering whether or not Harada would react well to what he wanted to hear.
三男さんに何か言われたんだろう。だいたい予想はついてるからよ。
He urged me to open up so persuasively. You see...
そんなことになってたのかよ。前はそこまで陰湿な人じゃなかったんだがな。
I love everybody comparing Sanan to a snake. It's my favorite thing now.
しかも俺には事情を明かすなって。やましいことがありますって白状してるようなもんじゃねえか。
I found it rather strange as well. But when he mentioned that Heisuke was suffering, I didn't have too many other options.
平助が血に狂いそうだってのもどこまで本当か分かったもんじゃねえがな。今は近藤さんもいねえし、土方さんも出かけちまってるから三男さんも気が大きくなってんだろう。土方さんが戻ってくればそんな話もなくなるさ。
I sure hope so.
あとのことは俺がどうにかしてやるからお前は気にするな。さあ、中へ戻ろうぜ。
It was impossible for me not to feel a little bashful still, but regardless, being able to confide in Harada so comfortably felt like a heavy burden was lifted from my shoulders. I smiled to myself as I watched his broad shoulders lead me back inside the compounds.